last week the blues guitar world, I suppose music in general, lost a great with the passing of Peter Green. He led the first incarnation of Fleetwood Mac, and for many guitar players I suppose that is the classic Fleetwood Mac era of blues guitar playing. Peter had a master touch, really, just a beautiful, beautiful guitar player. He played at the Warrenpoint Blues Festival, and unfortunately I didn't catch him live. For any Irish rock guitar and blues guitar fans, the Peter Green guitar story is a really interesting one, because Peter sold his famous Gibson Les Paul to Gary Moore, and Gary Moore used that on a lot of his classic recordings from Parisian Walkways to Still Got the Blues. There's a great piece of guitar history, I mean the actual instrument itself, with Peter Green. Peter Green sold his famous Gibson Les Paul to Gary Moore, and Gary recorded some of his classic guitar moments, Parisian Walkways and Still Got the Blues, on that guitar. The guitar is currently being played by Kirk Hammett from Metallica, and any Metallica fans who were at Slane last year will have seen Kirk use that guitar, the Peter Green Gary Moore Les Paul, on Metallica's cover version of Whiskey in the Jar. That's the fascinating thing about guitars. They just have a story and a history of their own. So I find it fascinating that the guitar was passed from Peter to Gary, and now from Gary to Kirk Hammett, and then to see that guitar being used on the Slane stage. Slane most famously associated with Thin Lizzy as well, and Gary Moore's connection with that. So it's an amazing guitar story. Video, I would just do a little Peter Green influenced playing just with over a backing track to his song I Loved Another Woman, the famous Fleetwood Mac song, and I actually use this guitar is a vintage known as the Lemondrop, and this guitar is based on the famous Peter Green Gary Moore guitar. You can see the guitar has been faded there just to give it that vintage look. It was modelled on the Peter Green Les Paul, just with the out of phase pickup selection. It's also a great guitar lesson in this here, because this song I Loved Another Woman uses the D minor pentatonic scale, which is really an essential scale for you to get your head around and master if you want to play blues guitar, the style of Peter Green and Gary Moore. The pentatonic scale from the D position. So we're going from fret 10 to 13 on string 6, then 10, 12 on string 5, 10, 12 on string 4, 10, 12 on string 3, 10, 13 on string 2, and then ending on the 10th fret of string 1. There's also a lovely little bend on this here, and I think that you can use that to work on bending your strings. You're starting off bending strings, just try this. So the bend there is actually, we're bending, and I'm using my third finger, and it's on the 13th fret, and that's a C note, and we're bending from the C note from the 13th fret to the 13th, 14th, 15th. The 15th fret, which is a D note. So we're bending from the 13th fret to the 15th fret. When starting off learning how to bend a string, I think it's a good idea to play the note that you're bending to, and that gives you a reference. So play that note and you can hear that. And now when you move down from the 15th fret to the 13th fret and you pick your note, you've got a reference. You can hear if you're reaching that bend correctly. That's a little quick guitar lesson, taking a look at the D minor pentatonic scale and also an introduction to bending a note. It was sad to hear the passing of Peter Green, and I think on the internet there's been many guitar tributes to him, and rightly so. So rest in peace, Peter.